All right, guys. So, second half on the second tempora or the second tenses, or I should say the second tense, because unlike Coptic, we really only have one second tense in Late Egyptian. Isn't that a major relief? We went over that the last time. What we've discussed so far is what they're used for, namely the second tense emphasizes the adverbial element in the sentence. So rather than focusing on the action itself or on who did it, or the object, you're really putting the emphasis on the part that's normally less relevant that we summarize under adverb or adverbial adjunct, adverbial expression. And you can see that here in the example we looked at the last time that I opened with. Tui chadit yit em tahut nature. That would be a normal sentence. I mean, regular first present. I, upon giving grain in the temple. So I'm giving grain in the temple. The emphasis here is on the action. That's why I highlighted it. If you put it into the second tense, it would be I iri, I, di yit, em tahut nature. So we're using this periphrastic construction with iri and with an extra pathetic yot in front. And what that does is it emphasizes the adverb, actually. So in a way that I give the grain, it is happening in the temple. So it is in the temple that I give the grain. That's really the secret to understanding these. They're putting the focus on the adverbial clause, which could be a lot of things. It could be a prepositional expression, like here. It could be, I think, a stative. It could be definitely a sentence with "eu" in front of it. So there's different things that can follow. It could be a purpose clause. Again, that would be a prepositional, right? In order to do something, add something, something, infinitive. Okay, how do you form it? Like I said, pathetic yod, iri, and then the subject, which could be a pronoun, very often is a pronoun, and then the infinitive. So, I, iri, I, dituf, that I give it is because of, happened while something else was happening, was in exchange for, etc. But that's the form. And that's the form that does, I would say, quadruple duty for present, past, habitual, future. There are no separate past tense forms, for example, like Coptic has them. You can slap the imperfect converter when in front of it to make it explicit. Neveu has an example in there, which I didn't copy into the slides, but you can see it in the chapter. You can do normal things like that with it, but in general, you don't have to worry about having different second tempora. There's really only one major one. I say one major one because there is one exception. A small number of verbs, our usual outliers, like for example, jed, those super frequent short verbs, they can just take the pathetic yod directly and then form like a second tense subjunctive that you use in oaths primarily. When you were to say, may this and this happen, may we do that and that. For example, like here, ijeden em ma'at. May we speak the truth. In other words, it is the truth that we should speak and not the lie, essentially. So the emphasis is on the second part. And therefore, you're putting the verb. Normally, you would say jeden or jedan. May we say. But since the emphasis is on the second part, you're putting this into a second tense. This is only possible with a small number of verbs and really pretty much only in this context in Late Egyptian. Everywhere else, you're going to find the periphrastic construction with the extra pathetic yod. All right. That's how far we got last time. Before we went through a whole bunch of exercises on that. Any questions, any comments, anything on this that we should clarify? No? Okay, awesome. So yeah, I mentioned last time what I really like about Late Egyptian is they're nicely marked. So you normally know when it is a second tense. You don't have that issue that you have to like deduce from context whether something's emphatic or not. It's telling you right there. Now let's talk a bit about context though. When do you use them? And here I'm using a whole bunch of examples from Cherny just because they do a great job in giving you all the different scenarios when you might want to use a second tense. So this is not exhaustive, but I think it's a good overview of when you would do it. A natural place to do it, for example, is questions. Just like in English, we put the question word in front to give it extra emphasis. Why did you say that? Where did you go, etc. When you have a question with ich, what, and its derivatives, like, or rather, I should say its derivatives, like ich, because of what, mi ich, like what, then that goes in, I mean, the whole sentence goes into the second tense. I think that's, Cherny says that's almost obligatory. That's what normally happens. So with that being said, if somebody wanted to take the first one, that would be great. It also applies for the answers. So both the question and then the answer go into the second tense. Any guesses on the first one?
So EEDEC.
Ek.
Gamset.
That's right. I guess originally it's a gemi, but yeah. And is it?
Um,
No, it's not. I'm sorry, my bad. Gemset. It should be a T, honestly, but it's not there. Hmm.
Me ich.
Hmm. That's right.
So sort of like, how did you find it?
Correct. Hmm. Literally, you found it like what? Or that you found it was like what? So how did you find it? Yep. And the answer?
EED gem. Oh, is this Gemet? Is that why it's a T? Yeah, Gemet set
Hmm. Oh, it's actually
when
there. My bad. You're right.
it's actually there, yeah, as a T. Uh,
When
set when
That's right. Game said when.
on
Right. And what do we make out of these two guys here?
to
That's right.
when to on.
Hmm.
So I found it open again.
Yep, that's right. Literally, I found it open again, although here in this context, the un is probably better already open.
Oh, yep.
And for some reason, I didn't have my transliteration keyboard on. Sorry, let me fix this. An, here we go with a nice ein, and this should have been a ch. Yep, that's it. So what you see here is the mi ich makes the first part go into the second tense. So this is what's the second tense. This is what's emphasized. That's why I underlined it. And the same thing also happens on the in the response. Now you may ask, what is that to? I think that's a stative. The it, probably it, whatever it was, a tomb, a pyramid, a sarcophagus, I have no idea. It has to be a feminine noun, obviously. It was already open. And I think this here is a stative, basically, to indicate that. So that is
So
our
dot
adverbial.
would the dot go after the T
You mean this
or
part?
a stative?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
yeah.
It's the third person feminine form. So yeah, that would be, it should be a T. Technically, it should be a TJ, but
Oh, I see.
since it could go away already by the stage of the language, it could just be without ending. But if the ending is there, T2, it's all the same. So yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so I think that comes naturally to us in English as well because we always put question markers also at the beginning. So how did you find it? Already open. That's how I found it, basically. Yeah, well done.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
So in the second sentence, the it is open or open again. So it doesn't need to be a preposition doesn't need to be in front of it, nothing like that, for it to be.
Correct. It doesn't have to be a preposition. I mean, often it is a prepositional expression, like in the next few sentences. But for example, you can also have, you'll see it in a moment, you can also have like a sentence with "eu." Um, so the adverbial is in a wider sense than just adverbs and prepositional phrases.
Prepositional phrases.
Can
Right.
also be, I know it can be a sentence with "eu," and I think this example would make me think it can also be a stative. And statives are normally treated like like adverbs. So that actually makes sense grammatically. So it's a great question. I must admit, when I saw the sentence, the first I also thought, hey, where's my adverbial? Oh, that's what it is. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, should we go to the next one? Oops, excuse me. I missed it. And so this is an example for sometimes the verb would just condition it. And when you translate the example, you'll see what I mean by that. Oops. And forget about those two strokes. They don't mean anything. Maybe it's a W. It should really be per tu, right? But it doesn't make any real sense here. So I would say just ignore that. Unless there's something I'm missing. If you just look at it literally, what could it mean? Or how would you read it? Let's start there.
I er I ane
Anech, you said, yeah?
ane em wa
That's right. Moi,
per.
per. And not any per, but a per.
Uh,
This is an abbreviation for something,
yeah, what is it? It's something sad or bad.
right? Or something small.
Ah,
You can write sherry like short, like small. You can
oh,
write it this
really?
way. Yeah, yeah. You find it, for example, also like my younger brother, Paisen sherry. You could have the sherry just spelled like this. That's pretty common. Okay, so you had it 100% right. And meaning-wise?
Hmm. I mean, I lived.
Mhm.
I live in a little house.
That's really it. Yeah, sounds like some kind of fairy tale, the beginning of it. In a little house. So here we go. Oh, more specifically, the emphasis is on this in a little house.
Yeah.
So it is in a little house that I live, and not in a mansion, for example. Yeah, that's really all it is. Why second tense? If you just used anich, normally it would be, I don't know, for example, uh, and qui I'm alive, tui and qui. But in this case, since this is not focusing on the fact that you're alive, but that you're living in a place, in that case, it goes into the second tense. So it's kind of, you wouldn't construct it any other way because the emphasis here is not on the fact that you're breathing, but on where you are in that condition. So it goes into the second tense. Or second present, I should say. Well, nah, wait, that's not accurate because there is no second past. So I'll just call it the second tense. So far, so good. And you could also, for example, you could have a purpose clause here that I took it was in order to give it to my children, dit, er in the sense of towards, and then an infinitive would be the same construction. Again, you would use the second tense. Or, for example, here, ini erjiba, to buy something in exchange for, with the erjiba in here. Again, since the focus here is on in exchange for what, that's the real information. This also goes into the second tense. So let's read this one real quick.
So Jed said I iri INIF jeba eat
You said in, give me that part again.
INIF.
What about those two guys down here?
So it's INI2F.
That's right.
Okay.
Erjiba. And for some reason, these guys are here, and I don't know why. Enjiba what?
Eat.
That's right. You had it. Perfect.
And she said, I brought it to exchange for barley.
Pretty much, yeah. Or that I brought it was in exchange for money. Yeah, you're correct. That's right. Yeah, that's really it. So no major mysteries here. I think should be pretty clear, right? It's always the adverbial that's stressed. If there are no questions on this, then I'll just move on to the next part, which is it also does a good job, or it's really useful for all sorts of temporal relationships. And that's where, for example, the sentences with EU come in. So I just put a whole bunch of them together. And again, as usual, let's just go through them and see how we do on them. And I'll probably, we don't have any vocabulary here, but I'll just give it to you. So, cheteb or cheteb becomes hotef in Coptic, to kill, to slay. I think everything else in the sentence should be known.
I'll go.
Thank you.
So we have E02,
Mhm.
Keteb,
Mhm. Cheteb.
Ba'i, Eat,
Mhm.
Iui, Msheri,
That's right.
Msheri,
Mhm. Perfect.
Msheri.
And meaning-wise?
Uh, so we have how about it is my father. Yeah, it is my father. Yeah, I'm sticking it in there. It is my father who was killed or made it. No, not killed.
It is killed, that's correct. Yeah.
No, I was looking at. I was going to say it's my father who made a kill, but no, it was my father who was killed.
It's some kind of passive, honestly.
And what when I was a child, or as I was a child,
Mhm.
or when I was a child.
That's correct. Now, this is 95% correct. Just one thing. What does the second tense stress? What's the emphasis on?
Um. Oh, so so when I was a child is what's being stressed.
Correct.
So
So
when I
maybe,
was
yeah,
so do I say when I was a child?
yep,
So it was when I was a child that my father was killed.
you got it. That's exactly it.
Is is there an oo after the Erie? There's a
Yeah, very often.
is that a real one or just an ornament?
I wish I knew. That's a really good question to which I don't have an answer.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I still have a few more decades, so maybe I'll find out one day. I've noticed that both Neveu, I think, definitely Johnny Gall, they always transcribe it as an Iri and not as an Iru, but very often it is an Iru. And I'm sure it wants to tell us something, if only I knew what. Um, the Very interesting. Had a longer exchange with Foy Scalf at the University of Chicago, where it used to be called the Orient. No, never mind. In any case, it was about vocalization of different SEGM-F forms, and he pointed out that if you look at the past tense, SEGM-F, that's built with iri, like the periphrastic construction, not the normal SEGM-F where you just have like SEGM-F means past tense, but the one of iri where you put like a slap like an iri in front of the verb, what becomes afsotem in Coptic. That and the second tense. They have different vocalizations in Coptic. So basically, in one case, you would say no, af sotem. The other one would be, for the second person, that would be f sotem. So you can tell the vocalization is different. And I'm thinking this W So his point basically being that, well, if the vocalization of the second tense and of the past was different, wouldn't that indicate that the other ZMFs could also have all had different vowels in them, depending on what tense you were in? Really, really tempting. I like it. And I wonder if that W here is an indication of like what vowel was being used in the Iri. But
Right.
what do I know? This is way too shaky.
I'm groping. I mean, could it be that it's the subject of Hedem
Uh, the,
when
su-
when they killed my father?
you find it
Sorry.
very fair, but you find it very often also um, when there's like let me see if I have an example here. When there's like a suffix pronoun following, I think, let me see if I can find an example. Here for example, erugem. Um, there's clearly a K there, and they still write the W. Or here, iri. So it doesn't seem to be conditioned by the subject, which, however, brings up the problem that I was afraid somebody was going to ask me, where's the subject in this? Like, how come it is not iriu, like you said? Well, how is that just like a naked passive here? I'll just accept it. It's a bit of a question mark in my mind too. But apparently you can do it. Sometimes you can just have the verb there without a subject, and it just becomes an impersonal somebody did something, like a passive.
I've got a
Is
quick
it
question from
Yes,
my
of course.
travels. There's a f on there somewhere that doesn't show in your transcription. A
A,
f.
a tha. Help me out, where?
Hang on.
Oh, it's an E.
Right where
So
you
the
just
word
had the cursor, but sorry.
it's the word for father. Rebecca has that F in it that is not. It's a strange word that I don't know that anyone's adequately explained why there's an F there that isn't pronounced.
Great,
You
thank
can speak to
you.
this more.
Yeah, that's like, is that the one that you meant, Rebecca? The F down here, the Viper? I think you're mute, but assuming there it is, like Aaron said, a lot of ink has been spilled on that, and I found the most hilarious explanations in high quotes. One was that it is a generic determinative which is only used in this one word, which basically means we have no idea. Well, I just used a lot of words to say this academically that we have no idea. It's a complete joke. I mean, we basically don't know. And the weird thing is, often you just have this, right? Like, especially like an Old Kingdom kind of spelling, you just have the you want to say tef, but it isn't tef. It's just it. You would think that the e would really matter, not the t plus the unpronounced f, but that's what you often see. It often looks just like that. Who knows? Who knows? Another explanation I've read, which I don't believe for one second, is, oh, you have his father so many times in inscriptions, it just carried over. No. I mean, who does that? This is like, but I've seen that printed as well, and there was a serious proposal. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't buy it. So yeah, that's a story here. And you can see in this case, the second tense, actually, the adverbial, quote unquote, is introduced by you. Literally, me being still a child. And that's how you can express a when in English without having to say one. So that's also kind of nice.
I have
Cool.
a question.
Sure.
Is it possible that the iri is naked here because it's a nominal subject and not pronominal? And they just didn't
Um,
feel the need to put a pronoun?
It could, but then what is it? Is it pait? That
Wouldn't it
would
be?
it would be, but then it makes the chedep a passive, right? It now has passive meaning to be slain.
Does passive mean kill or be killed? Like if it means to be slain, if the verb itself has the meaning of being slain, then it wouldn't necessarily be passive. It would be active
Correct.
in that
Correct.
case.
But the normal meaning is to slay somebody, to
Oh,
to kill
then
somebody.
never mind.
No, I mean it's a fair question. The way that Neveu put that in one of the chapters on the past tense was that you can have a subjectless past tense CJMF. That just happens. So he likes to interpret this um, as a CJMF, with an unexpressed subject rather than the verb suddenly becoming passive, which is highly academic. I mean, it's the same thing, just two different ways of looking at the exact same thing. But yeah, that's the way how he phrased it. And I'm gonna roll with it. I don't have anything better. But fair question. So yeah. How about the next one? Oof, I missed it. Damn. There we go. We're doing well on time. This one uses mjer, and mjer in this context, that is what becomes entere in Coptic, namely after. That's why I called the whole thing only after.
Give it a try.
Please do.
Right. Eri, probably.
Oh my God, yeah. What is this? Does this belong there?
I
Give me a
meant more
quick
because
moment.
of the U.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that is a typo. Let me see if I can find the sentence again. I think that's just a carryover, so it's probably copy pasting. Where
I thought it was some other kind of spelling for Geper.
that would be very late then. No, I
Like, I haven't
can't.
seen this spelling.
No, can't if. No, I can't find it. Of course, that helps. Beautiful. I'll take it out because it doesn't make any sense at all here. So
Okay. So just iri per.
yeah, that would make sense. So let me write that down. Iri per.
Pa.
Yeah.
Per na.
Yeah, what this is really small, but that's supposed to be another pair down here.
Ooh. Okay, so per a.
That's right.
Right, that is absolutely not legible.
No, I know. That's where the font unfortunately failed me.
Right. Mjer. No, we confused EU.
You?
And A.
That's just the name of somebody. So official so and so.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Imagine that this would be another E afterwards. That's just not written. So this is a first person from context. And this here, what do you think this is?
Well, Paris and there is, I forget, descend or go up.
Oh, come out.
Come out. It was come out.
So I'm going to make
Okay,
this an
so
infinitive here. Yeah.
right, so we're having the emphasis on the adverbial, which is the end, mjer, eur, so only after a went.
That's right.
Do I come out
Mhm.
empaper and from the house of the pharaoh?
That's right. That is
And of
exactly.
course,
That's it.
yeah, also good. It's of course very funny to then have the per and pera, the house of the great house.
That's right. Although honestly, it feels weird. There's a lot of pair going on here, right? One pair that is to come out,
Yeah.
the house of the pharaoh, and then the pharaoh itself. But then again, you know what?
Maybe that was actually an Egyptian tongue twister. Iri peri and paper and pera.
It might work. Yes, I like it. That's true. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I think we're getting the hang of it. And so here it's mjer, according to Cherny Groll, when mjer is used like in the sense of only after, it always takes the second tense. I have another alternative construction. Let me take a look at that time. Maybe I'll just do this one myself real quick. Sechenu is a task, a job, a mission, I think. So this one would be, where do we go? Yeah, it's like some kind of interjection. O E iri Nayu, Nayu, in parentheses ancestors. It doesn't say that, but it is that my ancestors have done what? Ire, ire, pai, sejenu, or sejen. So it is that my well, it is that my ancestors, and literally says the ones of me, right, have done this task. EU D, maybe like this. D per A, life, prosperity, health, into Su, it's Su, right? Siu, 6. Siu Bari. Okay. This is from Venamun, where we're going to get soon. And basically, it's an argument about whether certain things should be carried out free of charge or not. And the counterpart here is basically saying it is that my ancestors did this task, iudi per a, per ara, Pharaoh having given, so to say, Pharaoh held prosperity life, prosperity life, prosperity health, having given that one brought or that one bring 6 bari. Bari, that word exists in Greek, and to the best of my knowledge, is the ancestor of our English word bark, or bark with a QE at the end, so the boat. It's a specific type of boat that was being used. The Greeks copied that word and it has made it into French and from there into English. So Latin in between. So in any case, my ancestors only did this. Let me write this out. My ancestors only did this after Pharaoh had sent 6 body ships or barges, barks, I guess. It makes sense in the context of the negotiation why that would be important. But yeah, again, the same thing. The EU indicates what happened before. And I think sense-wise, it's very similar to the one we had before, but using a slightly different construction. This here, of course, is this is a past tense ZGMF he gave. And then that again rules the subjunctive. He gave that one may bring, or that one brought, 6 of ships. So far, so good. This one was a bit more complicated, so I thought I'd jump in. There's a lot of grammatical detail in this one.
Is it common to refer to your ancestors just as mine and not use a word?
That did surprise me a little bit too. I did it like a double take. Did I miss a word or something? I don't think I did. Let's postpone this one when we get to the Venomon story. I didn't look it up again how that fits in context, but I don't think that's common necessarily. Unless I missed something here. Yeah, I would say let's move that one to the Venomon decision. I think that's where that line is from, unless I'm completely mistaken. Okay. All right. We're doing well on time. I have 4 more sentences, 2 on this page, 2 on the next. So you can also use it to indicate all sorts of nifty things about the sequence. Like for example, here, this is as part of a conversation who should be writing first. Let's see what it says. Whom have I not heard from yet? Got to do the virtual look around the room thing here.
Yeah, go.
All right.
All right, so we have E, Eri.
Mm-hmm.
There's that ooh. F.
That's right. EDF.
Hab.
Mm-hmm.
Now this looks like the independent pronoun. Netet, but isn't always netnu? Netet. No, net in.
Neten.
Shaut
Yep,
hat.
that's right. And I think that W is actually kind of silent. So I'll just make it shut. Letter. Erhat. You got it. Erhat. Okay, what do you think it means?
Hat. So with respect, so is this hat the front with respect to the front, at the front,
Or first, simply first.
beginning? All right, so it is the first, so see the first, it is the first beginning. He sent us a scroll, a paper scroll or something, or
Or simply a letter.
letter.
It is first. I'll go with the working translation. It is first
It's first
that
that he
he
sent.
sends us a letter. You, actually, not. Oh, wait, Nathan. 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 To us would be Nen. Nathan is to you. That he sends you, plural, a letter. Okay. Now that sounds a bit weird. The sentence goes on. It is better that you don't write to him first. So what's intended here is basically the meaning is let him send the letter first. It's better that he writes first before you do anything. So I'll rephrase this a little bit. This is essentially, in this case, the ERF has like a prospective meaning. He shall essentially he shall send a letter first. That is that he shall send a letter first. I think that makes more sense. He shall send a letter first. A letter first. The next part didn't have a second tense in it, so I didn't take it, but it goes on. It's better that you shouldn't write first. So in other words, let him take care of it before you chime in. That's actually a
And
realistic
this
message.
this Netin is you all? Is it plural?
Yeah, to you all.
To you all. Okay.
Oh yeah, that refers to you all. Thank you. Slipped my mind. Or rather, maybe I moved the first back. It is that he shall send a letter first to you all. That's what's intended. Very good.
It's a strange way of writing N10, isn't it? With the 10 pronouns split into two bits.
Yeah, you would expect something
But
more like, I see what you're saying. You were saying this here should be, whoops, I'm in the wrong.
that's not it.
You want this? Something like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question why they did that.
I mean, that's what it is, isn't it?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Let's remember that we're copying a textbook written in hieroglyphs from English from then, probably from Heretic.
That's right.
We don't know how it looked.
That is true. Although I could imagine that they really used the ligature there, like this, and then down into the T, Netin. Yeah. I'm also not sure why he uses a W here. That's also a bit of a mystery to me, but yeah, that's what it is. And then I have one more sentence for sequences. How can I save some space here? I'll just take the it is out. He shall send a letter first. He shall first. Okay. All right. Okay. What about the last one? Gerek. Gerek is literally to found, like a city. But when you talk about countries, in English we would say create. I think that should help.
I can take a swing at this one.
All right. And I know none of these were in reverse, so this is a true test. All right. Go for it.
Her iiri.
Mm-hmm.
Imun,
Mhm.
Gereg, and Tawi.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the double N there. Let me take a quick look if that's true. That could be another one of my typos.
I feel like that's something we see with the plural, that it's and na.
And indeed it is correct. It's not a
I think you're right.
typo.
Yeah.
Anatawi. And yeah, but I would have thought na entau.
Oh
That
yeah,
is,
you're right. You're right. Na and.
it should be the other way around. Also,
Yeah.
is it taui or is it tau with the plural strokes?
Oh yeah. Huh. Hmm.
I really don't know. Cherny go for tau. I'm gonna
Okay.
imitate that.
Try
Uh,
that.
you could argue each way, but I think since the plural is indicated, I see the point. Mhm. Oh, and there comes more. Now I see why they said that. All right,
Tau Jeru.
that's right. Hmm.
Um, EDF Gereg. Geregu.
Mm-hmm.
You get wait. You Gereg F. Pata and Kemet. Kerihat.
Which means again first. Just a different
Okay.
way of saying it.
So is this her since, but, and?
Could be since, or it could simply and in context and fits best.
Okay, so Amun founded, established
Hmm.
the lands, all the lands. Okay, so Amun established all the lands.
Correct. Hmm. Hang on, let me take notes. And Amun, I would just say created. Created all the lands. Hmm.
And he created, he created them.
Hmm. And he created them. Yeah.
And he created the land of Egypt first.
And yeah, I'll put a little S in there. As he created, we'll fix that in a moment. The land of Egypt first. Okay, you have it. That's good. So, and Amun created all the lands. That part is in the entirety, right? So that part is clear. What about then, what's being emphasized here in the second sentence? Because there's another second tense here, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the emphasis is on creating Egypt first.
That's exactly it. So this whole thing here is actually what's being emphasized. That's your
Everything after the EU, right?
correct. And that's where I struggled for a moment. Whoop, everything after the EU. That's right, not this part. So let's make that a bit clearer in the English version.
Can I make a
Okay.
vocabulary point? This gereg, is this word usually used for created, or is that always used? I mean, obviously Genesis wasn't translated into Egyptian, but in their cosmogony foundation myths, do they use gereg, like set in order, or do they have another word?
So for Gerek and anybody else, please feel free to chime in. But the way I know it is primarily for things like cities, some like physical locality. There's schema for to create, like for example, create people or something. You wouldn't Gerek people, I think. This is more like for locations.
So
That's
set in order or founded or established, maybe
correct.
even established.
I've seen it as founded as the common translation.
Don't change it though. It's just that obviously it's an important word
Right.
if you're used to the later biblical stuff, I suppose,
Correct.
and also when the world was, I don't know, I don't even know how the world was created according to the Egyptians.
It
It's
would,
odd.
that's another fascinating story. And I don't know off the top of my head which verb is being used there, although I would have to check.
What
Kimau,
was it?
Ra or somebody? Just quickly tell me who made the
Maybe
world.
like Kepler for creating the world?
Pepper is to come into being, though, right? But
Yeah, but you could.
you could cause
Yeah.
something to come into being. So to give that something comes into being. That's why I was hesitating too. Did they really just use a blunt created, or did they say like he made it come into being? I'd have to check. Oh,
Like,
and
there's
that
no question there.
and there are multiple cosmogonies, how these things happen. Like if there's an egg involved, or the primeval ocean which an island rises from, and all sorts of things. So th this is a whole another cornucopia of stories. We'll get there. All right. So Enamun created all the lands, and let's just make this into.
So I would flip that. I would say he created the land of Egypt first when he created all the lands.
That would work. Yeah, that would work. Um, so
Created
creator.
Egypt. He created the land of Egypt first when he created them.
Hmm. Maybe we could do it like this, and I'll try to do it this way. It was Egypt that he created first.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to make the national pride go up.
Yeah, let's not mention you know what, you know who.
So yeah, that's that. So you can see that those second tenses are super useful to indicate all sorts of relationships, like in this case, to emphasize what happened first and what came second. Yeah, it's a nice, elegant, how would I say that, feature that you can use grammatically that we have to imitate in other ways in English. That's probably the biggest issue, that we don't have a one-to-one correspondence. So the only thing that's left to do then in the last 7 minutes is negation. I have one example of each. Why each? Because there's two things you could negate. You could negate the specific circumstances. So it was not because of something something, or it was not in order to something something, or it was not in exchange for $10 that I bought this, but I gave it to them for free. So you could basically negate the adverbial. The other option is, of course, that you could say that something did not happen because while something else. Let's do the two examples, and you'll see what I mean here. The first one, where you're basically negating the circumstance. The verb here is sesh, to pass by. In this particular context, because this is from the strike papyrus and refers to the workers marching out of the necropolis and basically sitting down somewhere in the Ramesseum and essentially doing a sit-in there. When they talk to the officials, what they say or what they lead with is this sentence here.
I'll try. It looks short.
All right. Sounds good.
Imi bun ir iri.
Yeah, eben, you had iri, yeah?
Thank you. Iri n or n zish
That's right. Yeah.
and hraker.
One out too many. Gekker. Gekker.
That's a bad thing or a little thing.
That's right.
N and
Not quite. This one is pronounced EU.
ew ew nay.
You would think, but the second, it's the E02 man, the one pointing at his mouth. So it's just a determinative. Iuna. This here becomes an, the negation in Coptic, and I should have said you can use bun iuna, which is basically an in Coptic, like the bracket, like the ne pas, negation in front, negation at the back bracket. All right.
Stuck on the yeah.
The yeah is just like, oh, verily, well, any kind of like introductory expression, which we really don't use much more in English anymore, but Shakespeare would have liked it.
It was
Mhm.
not
Yes.
when um when
Mhm.
we were when I don't know who's acting here with the passing by. It was not when we striked.
Yes. Yeah. This is complicated, but you're right. That we went on strike.
Um, of Hooker and of our Hooker. Is
What is
that
it?
about wickedness?
Not nakedness.
Wicked, badness.
Neither. What is it in Coptic again? It's hunger. But I forgot how to
Oh,
say it in Coptic.
It's because it almost sounds like the same word in English, pucker and
yes.
hunger.
I knew I kind of recognized it.
Okay, cool. So you said for hunger, right? And that's exactly what it is. Oh, it was not that we went on strike for hunger. The sentence goes on. I remember reading this passage.
It's because you haven't paid us for 3 weeks or something.
That was part of it, but basically what they're complaining about is the grave injustice. Like the hunger we could deal with, but the fact that you're ignoring our just demands, this is just too much. It's a bad thing that has happened here, and that's why we're going on strike. So collective action. But yeah, it is not for hunger that we went on strike, but because you guys are keep ignoring us, basically, or whatever the specific complaint was. It was something moral.
So the bun and the iuna kind of
Mhm.
go together.
They go together. That's exactly right. So it's like parentheses, basically. This is one half of the negation. Ugh, help. Why does this not work? This is so weird.
And then the
Okay.
hooker un, is that our hunger?
Yes, literally for our hunger. You're right. Very good point. Yeah,
It was not because of our hunger that we went on strike.
right. But because our feeling for justice has been violated. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. And so what you're negating here is basically like the circumstance, right? It's not because of our hunger, but because of something else. What if you wanted to say um, something did not happen because of something or while something else, then you use term. So you use term, which normally negates infinitives, and you throw that in front of the infinitive. And that's exactly what happens here. So tem the not going. Let's see what we make out of the whole sentence. Any takers? Ugh, I missed it again. Sorry. Here we go. And ist, I would say, let's say C or something of that nature.
Yes, so
I'll go.
if it is two, do they use that word?
Yeah, literally is true. You're right. I think it just is though. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Shall I try going on? Let's see how we go.
sure thing.
E, term,
Hmm.
E, N10,
Hmm.
N, Nicket, Nket.
That's right. I think in car in Coptic, if I'm not mistaken.
Right,
Something, a thing, something.
oh, Lord. Sorry about that.
No worries. Very well done. Now,
Oh,
what could it mean? This one's tricky because it involves an idiomatic expression, one that New Yorkers will understand, actually.
well, an Nket. Nket is a little, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a little
yes,
bit,
yeah, or in
a
this
little
case,
thing,
something, yeah. And
something.
and cat
Yeah, for something, for
for
nothing,
something, for something, for
for a
nothing.
little.
Let's stay with for nothing. For nothing works.
Yeah, It's not tum E and 10, not coming to you for nothing.
Uh-huh. It's not for nothing that iri tem I, Nathan. You're pretty much there.
I'm struggling.
Um, okay. So if it were iri I, Nathan, forget about the temp for a moment.
Now,
I mean, I'll take this out. It's for something, is what they literally say. Mhm.
it's
It's for something. What would you make out of E, Nathan? Forget about the temp for.
Well, I
Mhm,
come
mhm.
to you.
Correct. That I come to you, or maybe that I've come to you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And then we just need to smuggle the tem back in again.
Yeah.
Tem E.
Then I have not come.
That's it. You got it. Exactly. That's it. So it is for a reason, basically. There's a good reason that I did not come to you. And that's why I said the New Yorkers would understand, but it's not for nothing that I didn't come to you. It's basically that's what it says. Let me make this proper English here. Did not come to you. Okay. It's for a reason, basically, that I didn't come to you. And then the whatever that reason is would follow. Yeah, naked by itself could also just mean something. There's another sentence in Shirley Gall where they have, what was it? I didn't have anything to bring to you or something. They use the same word. So it doesn't have to be figuratively, but in this case, it's used figuratively. All right. Hey guys, we made it. End of chapter 23. Only 3 minutes over. And I would say since we've had a lot of different tenses, let's do one of our famous recaps again next time. Also, Neveu does that. Chapter 24 is actually just like one big table of this is everything we've looked at so far. So why don't we just do the same in 2 weeks? And
Great. So I'm wondering whether Erin is going to have another major bereavement when we finish the book.
it's a
Of
major,
course I will.
a major
Don't
what?
worry, we're not in danger. We're not in danger of finishing the book anytime soon. We got
It's a long way to the end.
this is going to be, I mean, this will be another 4 years at this rate.
Oh boy.
And then maybe we can start on an Egyptian dictionary and work through every letter, and then we can.
No, after this, we can do Zatzinger. Then we can do, I mean, we're spoiled. There's plenty of textbooks.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to run out anytime soon. I must have.
I'd love to look through the hieratic texts in Neveu.
Oh yeah. He has some pretty
They're
ones
very
in there, right?
difficult to read.
Let me see. What is it actually? I know what you mean. You mean
There are a
the
whole lot of reproductions of things.
Yeah, in
This one,
between the
right?
chapters.
This looks really pretty. Yeah, that's typically Ramesside. These very whatchamacallit, like very tall, very what, I should put this on the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, Evan. That now you can see it. Those very tall, elegant letters. That's so
Yeah.
typically Ramesside hieratic. I love it.
Yeah. Perhaps we could save that for a rainy day.
All right. Sounds good. Well, on that note, let's continue there next time. Thanks so much as always, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very
Good
much.
weekend, everybody.
Thanks.